You're listening to an African Elements top news story for June 17, 2025. Please visit our website at africanelements.org for more daily news. Juneteenth funding cuts, a blow to Black celebration by Darius Spearman, African Elements. For many across the African American community, Juneteenth offers a profound moment for collective joy, remembrance, and community building. This powerful celebration marks June 19, 1865, the day Union troops arrived in Galveston, Texas. They announced emancipation to enslaved African Americans, bringing about the official end of chattel slavery in the United States, 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. We often call it America's Second Independence Day, symbolizing freedom and the long, arduous journey toward racial equality. Therefore, when big corporations, who once stood shoulder to shoulder with us, decide to step back, it feels like a withdrawal of support from a milestone moment in our history. Suddenly, Juneteenth celebrations are facing tough times because corporate sponsors are pulling their money. Many companies say they are pulling back from supporting Juneteenth events because of budget concerns and a shift in their focus away from initiatives promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion, also known as DEI. In Denver, more than a dozen companies backed out of supporting the Juneteenth Music Festival, causing the event to be scaled down. Similarly, Nashville has faced financial difficulties, with budget cuts impacting their DEI efforts. The financial strain is palpable, and it puts into question the sustainability of these vital cultural gatherings. The impact of these financial withdrawals is not just numbers, it affects the very spirit of our celebrations. In Nashville, the Music City Freedom Fest, a pivotal event honoring African American heritage through music, food, and arts, has faced its most financially difficult year. This festival provides a platform for cultural pride and promotes social and economic empowerment within Nashville's Black community. Its purpose is to celebrate emancipation, African American culture, and build community solidarity in the city. Similarly, the Southern Colorado Juneteenth Festival, which honors African American history in the region through cultural and educational activities, has seen a drastic drop in sponsors. Originally, dozens of sponsors supported the event, but now just 5 remain. This decline directly threatens the festival's ability to provide cultural expression and community solidarity to the local Black population. These cuts are forcing communities to rethink how to keep these deeply meaningful traditions alive. It is not only corporations pulling back, local governments are also reducing or eliminating their financial support for Juneteenth celebrations. In Scottsdale, Arizona, the city council decided to close its DEI office. This decision resulted in the cancellation of the city's annual Juneteenth celebration. This action exemplifies how a changing focus on DEI by local authorities can directly impact cultural events. In West Virginia, officials canceled all Juneteenth events for 2025 due to budget issues. This marks the first time since 2017 that West Virginia has canceled these celebrations, signaling a noticeable reduction in public support. Budget deficits force local governments to prioritize essential services, often at the expense of cultural observances. When budgets are tight, cultural events are vulnerable to cuts, as they are often seen as non-essential expenses that can be trimmed to address more critical needs. Diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives are programs and policies that aim to promote fair treatment and representation of underrepresented groups in workplaces and society. These efforts seek to create equitable opportunities, foster inclusive environments, and address systemic inequalities. Historically, corporate sponsors have used their DEI commitments to help fund events like Juneteenth celebrations, recognizing and honoring Black history and culture. However, the landscape is shifting. Changes in corporate focus or opposition to DEI programs are now leading to significant financial losses for cultural events like Juneteenth. For instance, in January 2025, an executive order banned DEI programs in federal agencies. This shift reflects a broader political resistance that impacts corporate funding. Companies may also respond to a conservative backlash against DEI, leading them to distance themselves from culturally significant events perceived as politically charged. This retreat signifies a complex interplay of market conditions, ideological debates, and changes in corporate social responsibility strategies. Juneteenth was made a federal holiday on June 17, 2021, when President Joe Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act into law. This marked it as the 11th federal holiday and the first new federal holiday since Martin Luther King Jr. Day was designated in 1983. This milestone signifies formal recognition of the importance of emancipation and African American history at the national level. It also mandates a paid day off for federal employees on June 19th or the nearest weekday if it falls on a weekend, symbolizing national acknowledgement and providing broader cultural visibility. Despite this federal recognition, Juneteenth events are still primarily funded and organized at local and state levels. The federal holiday designation boosts the holiday's profile and may encourage local efforts. However, it does not fully guarantee direct funding for community events. Some federal agencies have even reduced active participation in observances, particularly after executive orders began restricting DEI programming. Thus, the responsibility of sustaining these vital celebrations largely remains with local governments and communities, whose funding levels vary widely based on budgets and shifts in political priorities. Despite these significant financial obstacles, communities are finding creative ways to maintain Juneteenth celebrations. In Denver, the Juneteenth Music Festival remains afloat thanks to generous donations from individuals and foundations. Organizers across the nation expressed determination to support these events despite the financial hardships. This determination reflects the deep-rooted community resilience that has always been characteristic of the African American experience. Communities are increasingly relying on grassroots fundraising, local donations, and mobilizing volunteers to keep the spirit of Juneteenth alive. Partnerships with smaller businesses or nonprofits are also becoming crucial strategies to sustain events. Additionally, digital platforms and virtual events offer expanded reach while reducing costs, allowing communities to connect and commemorate without the need for large-scale physical gatherings. These adaptations help maintain cultural visibility and educational impact despite the financial contractions, ensuring that the legacy of freedom continues to resonate. Reduced funding for Juneteenth celebrations risks diminishing the visibility and vital educational impact of our holiday. This could weaken the communal remembrance of African American emancipation and history. Such cuts lead to less cultural transmission, fewer opportunities for public engagement with Black heritage, and a potential loss of community pride and cohesion. Over time, these budget cuts may marginalize the holiday, reducing it to smaller, less impactful observances. This would undermine the significant progress made in fostering racial awareness and inclusion. For us, Juneteenth is not merely a day off. It is a living testament to struggle, perseverance, and triumph. It is a time when we collectively reflect on America's complex history of slavery and the ongoing struggle for racial justice and equality. Public enthusiasm for Juneteenth remains strong, especially within African American communities. The withdrawals by sponsors and governments often stem more from economic pressures, shifting corporate priorities, and political dynamics. Misperceptions and political controversies can pressure stakeholders to distance themselves from funding, creating a real threat to the future of these cherished celebrations. Copyright African Elements.